All right, this is episode number 7, I believe, and we have Mr. Josh Campbell here, all the way from, I think I can call it the
Sunny
UK,
Scotland.
right?
Yeah,
Scotland.
yeah,
You
Scotland.
classify
Yeah,
that as the UK still?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, Josh is been someone I've followed for quite a while. You've done one contest prep?
Yes, 2023.
Yeah, had a very successful junior season or teen season even. You
Yeah,
even
yeah,
put it under
yep,
back at a teen. Are you still a
exactly.
teen now, or you
No,
left
no,
that?
I'm 21 now. I'll be going into juniors next year when I compete. Obviously, I can
Yeah,
speak about
cool.
that, but that'll be my next jump.
Yeah, yeah, and with that in mind, the the amount of the base you had for that age is pretty crazy, like pretty cool. And
Thank you.
I think that's why you've also done well in terms of getting clients and that sort of thing, because you've got these younger guys wanting to get into it a bit early. We can get into it a little bit later,
Yep.
but sometimes it feels out of reach. I think for some people, when you're 15 and you think about it, but on top of that, a lot of guys don't really have their head screwed on at that age either.
Not at
So
all. Yeah,
yeah,
people
so
want the
it's
results, they want that progress, but then they don't really know, they don't know what goes into it. But then when they do learn what goes into it, they're like, I don't know if I actually want that. So it's
yeah,
trying to
exactly.
manage people's expectations and shit. But again, we can dive into that some more.
Do you work mostly with bodybuilding athletes or some what you call gym pop lifestyle guys as
Yeah,
well?
a bit of both, a mix of both. And if it is Gen Pop clients, they're kind of what you would maybe consider like elite level Gen Pop clients. It's not people that are just going to the gym just to go to the gym. It's like
Hobby
still people that,
builders.
yeah, like people that have still got the same mindset as a bodybuilder when they're going into the gym. They're giving it absolutely everything. They're sending me over training clips consistently. They're checking in weekly. Like it's not people that are just like, oh, I'll miss a check in. Oh, it's not the end of the world. They'll just, like, if someone's not on their shit, I'll pull them up on their shit. So I work with a lot of kind of first timer bodybuilders because some of the guys are younger, it'll be like their first season, but then I'll carry them through into more seasons,
Mm,
experienced bodybuilders, and then kind of like higher level lifestyle people. That's what I find works best. When I started coaching, like, there was a lot of kind of gym pop people just because, that's how it is when you start. You're not going to be able to get competitive clients when you're only kind of early doors with it. And it's difficult, because those people, again, like, aren't very consistent. You want to see them do well and you're trying to push them, but they don't put much effort into it. So it's good
yeah,
to be working with higher level athletes now. And I'm sure it's the same with you as well. I've been part of the team, and like your clientele will continue to improve and get better, and especially with your season as well. Like that
yeah,
just puts you higher up, and people, as much as it shouldn't be, like people do respect you a lot more. Like when you've got a really good physique, that shouldn't base your coaching, what that's going to be like, but it for sure makes a difference.
yeah. No, I 100% feel the same way with that. Thought of yes, you might achieve something, but it doesn't necessarily correlate to ability to get someone else to achieve that same thing
Yeah,
too. But with you talking about lifestyle clients, you know, like you said, you want so much for them, but a lot of times you just feel like you're getting stabbed in the back, and it's like,
yep.
guys,
Come on, man.
let's turn this around and let me push you forward in a positive way. But yeah, I definitely, I mean, I started initially working as a floor PT,
Okay.
and that was cool. I definitely learned a lot, and I was very lucky with sort of the place that I initially started in. Like I had a good boss who really upskilled, sort of
Yeah,
helped me
wanted to see
filter
you do
through the
well, push
weeds.
you to do more. Yeah,
Yeah, and there's a lot of shit out there, as I'm sure you're aware of. Not that I
yeah,
see much of it anymore, just because our sort of algorithms have honed in on
yeah,
mostly good stuff. But this, you know that there's a lot of shit out there. So I could have easily been poorly influenced into different practices that really don't have any effect. So I was grateful for that, and then we did a bit of gem pop stuff online. And again, like you said, it's you really want to help people, but sometimes they're just
yeah.
not in the space, right? Like it's hard.
There's nothing that you
You
can do for that or you can do
yeah,
about that. Like, you're trying your best and it frustrates you. Like, you just need to be able to take a step back a little bit sometimes and just be like, I can't do much here. You're just stressing
yeah,
yourself out about it, and it's making you feel like shit, and you're trying not to be horrible, but like you're also double messaging being like, come on, mate, like what the fuck are you doing? But then you're like, come on, Josh, just take a step back here. Like you end up getting too involved, and you're like, I want to see you do well, but then you don't want to overstep a boundary, but you also don't want to let them just like waste away their money, their time. So it's a difficult one. And that's the thing with PTs as well, like in-person PTs. I always kind of fought with the idea of whether I want to do that or not, but like 99% of the in-person PTs that I'd see in the gyms, like I don't want to be associated with that. Like they're sat there like
That name.
talking, yeah, like they're talking to their clients while their clients are trying to do a set, and they're like asking them like, "What you doing at the weekend? You know, what's the situation? Oh, how's things?" And they're trying to do like a row, and they're like talking to each other at the same time. I'm like, what are you getting from this? Like middle of concentrics, like towards the back end of sets, just like chatting. Come on, lads. Like I don't know. I feel like I kind of wanted to push that standard up, but then I didn't want to get grouped in with those type of people in a sense. So I ended up just kind of pushing the online side of things, and that was all while I started competing as well and started to get a little bit more
Mm.
kind of credibility, and that all built up from there. But yeah, I think online coaching nowadays is looked at as similar, you know, in the sense like there's a lot of new coaches coming about who maybe aren't not qualified because you technically don't need a qualification, but they aren't qualified in the sense of, you know, the actual experience that they've got and the knowledge that they've got. They maybe just want to start it up because it's like extra money and stuff like that. So it's trying to show that, you know, you're one of the good guys and you're not one that's just trying to make more money off of it or doing your 12-week shredding programs and putting people on just super low calories, getting them lean and then just getting a result and that's it. There's so much of that. I don't know like what it's like over your way, but there's so many people that are just like, you know, they'll do like a 12-week diet program and they'll literally just put people on such low foods, get like a good transformation out of them. They'll leave, there'll be no sustainability, they'll be fat before they know it again. But as long as they've got a good transformation, they can post it, they've got some really good marketing, you know, like
Photo
they'll
goes
get
up.
loads,
That's all you need.
yeah, they'll get loads of clients in, they'll get loads of this and that, but you just know like for people like us, we can see through that, but Gen Pop people can't. It's difficult.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been there, right? It's just the transition from in-person PT, which before was a smaller cohort of total people. Now you've got this greater accessibility. You know, people who have been training for a year can put out that they're taking online clients, and
Yeah,
you know, do they have any understanding, backing behind anything that they're saying? Well, that's really the question at hand. And yeah, I mean, I've got nothing wrong with it, but you got to be. I mean, you'd be the same, Josh. You're not going to say something that you can't back or don't believe in,
yeah,
right? And I don't know. For me, I have to have a really good foundation and understanding, and feel like I've done the work in terms of education and experience before I would even consider,
yeah,
you know, let's say transitioning from like a gem pop to like more bodybuilding based clients. Like if I was doing that by myself, I'd be looking for someone to help guide me through that process, because there's so much to learn, right?
yeah, for sure.
And did you have someone that sort of helped you transition like that?
Well,
Like any
I mean,
mentors or
I started with Finn. So like we have Natural Physique Coaching for anyone that's
right.
listening that probably doesn't know us or me. I'm part of Natural Physique Coaching, and it's literally just us, the group of mates who all do very similar stuff, and we've just decided to join together just to coach under like the one name. So it's myself, Finn, Noah, and Matt. Matt's our posing guy, Butcher Natural Physique. His name is because his Instagram name was Butcher's Wet Dream beforehand. There's
Follow
Noah.
suit.
Yeah, Noah, Finn, and myself who are like the actual physique coaches, prep coaches, and stuff like that. I started with Finn middle of 2022, it would have been, I believe.
Mhm.
Yeah, middle of 2022, after having a coach for around the year beforehand. And I wanted to just kind of like level up my game. Like that coach was kind of maybe a little bit more gym pop, didn't do bodybuilding and stuff like that. And I was toying with the idea of maybe competing. Like, didn't really think it through too much, but you know, I really wanted to take my training to the next level. Like, I was training well, I was doing stuff pretty good, but like, I'd send over the other coach that I was with some training clips and I'd know that there was improvements, and he'd be like, "No, they're all good." And I'm like, "No, I really want to get as much as I can out of this." And I was listening to Finn's podcast at the time, filming off all the podcasts and stuff like this, like it shows that it does really make a difference and it does help people. Like I was listening to Finn's podcast a lot, learning a lot, and I was like, well, I'm learning so much from his podcast. I'm gonna inquire for coaching.
Mm.
So I started coaching with Finn mid 2022, started prep early 2023, obviously ran the whole prep with him, learned through him a lot, you know, asked as many questions as I could. And then late 2024, going into 2025, he messaged me. He was like, do you want to be business partners? You know, like we can run Natural Physique Coaching together. It's like, fuck yeah, brilliant. Like with Finn, like I've always just learned as much as I could from him, and he's like passed me on that knowledge. And obviously he's had clients competing since 2021, so it's just been kind of like just getting as much knowledge and kind of soaking it up and being a sponge from him, then learning my own stuff and going through all these different experiences to get more from that. But I've always liked the fact that I could fall onto asking Finn some questions or getting his opinion on stuff. Like I'm sure same with you with Brandon, you know, like being able to have someone there that you can fall back on, and you know that they've got plenty of experience in the game. So you're always going to have that like imposter syndrome, aren't you, when you're doing something new? But
Oh
as you
yeah.
say, like there does need to be like at least a barrier of this is the knowledge that I've got. I know I can do it. I'm just maybe a little bit nervous for it, or like I don't quite believe in myself yet. But you know, you've competed, I've competed. We both put like everything into that and educate ourselves as much as we can. And it's just now a case of doing it, you know, and putting that into practice. And the more people that you get on stage, the more we obviously become more, you know, credible coaches and stuff like that. So yeah, it's always been good to have Finn there. And then now, like we have, do you guys like, you guys stay really close together, like your team?
Yeah, so I mean, on a weekly basis, we'll catch up for a call. Uh, you know,
Same here.
you know, onboarding someone, or like there was just a unique scenario. Maybe I was doing like setting someone up for a contest prep, like, yo, B, I want to get you in and just, you know, see what you think. So we'll sit down and go through it together, you know, make sure
Yeah,
we're on the same page. And the other awesome thing that I heard you say is, you know, you're all on the same page. You know,
yeah,
you all sort of believe in the same principles, and that will just mean that it will last. You know, there's
for
so
sure.
many things that you have two people come together, but they've got completely different ideologies, and
Yeah,
that doesn't really last and doesn't work, unfortunately.
very, very similar. Yeah, and it makes a big difference. And like again, we have like a wee weekly call. We'll have like content days. So myself and Noah, we stay literally 10 minutes away from each other, like super close.
Oh, cool.
Finn stays down in England. He's maybe like a 6 hour drive away, and then
It's
Matthew
out of Leicester,
stays.
right?
Hmm.
Is it out of Leicester?
Yes, roughly
Yeah.
around that
Yeah.
area. And then I'm kind of Glasgow way, so is Noah. And then Matt is over in Ireland, kind of Belfast way. So he needs to fly over whenever like he comes to see us. But we usually have like content days, maybe once every month or two that we get to see each other. But more so when the show season comes around, it's really nice because we'll all stay at Finn's house. We'll all go to the shows together, and that's great. You know, like going to the shows and having like us four, but then having all of our clients, having like a big team of people, like that's the best thing. And it means as well, like on the day, I always find it's really helpful for the clients because one person can be backstage with everyone, like helping with pump ups and stuff. Someone can be out in the audience, pretty much texting that person where the show is at, just to make sure you know exactly where that is. The other person can be running about and going getting people's pump up drink that they forgot to grab upstairs, and you know something like that. Like it's nice to have like a kind of group of people. It's like an F1, you know, we pit stop team. You know, like you can just go and get everything done for you, and it
Mm.
keeps that stress nice and low on you. But I'm looking forward to the show season again. Like that's starting to run up mid-April time. I think it's similar to you guys. You've got like season A and season B, don't you? And then
Yeah,
you've got like earlier shows, then later shows. It's quite similar in that sense.
we've got first season coming up back end of like very late April, May.
Yep.
And then that sort of, I think, finishes around the end of May. And then we've got a season B that's actually earlier now. That
Okay.
comes, the natural IFBB season, for whatever reason, is smack bang in the middle of the year in July.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why, but so then you've got three seasons. So you've got May, July, and then September, October for
Got
season
you.
C. Um, yeah, it used to be just A and B, but you
Because
know,
that's what I heard.
Natty,
That's what I kind of known it as. Yeah.
yeah, and that's what it was for a very long time. But yeah, show season's awesome, man. Like it goes quick.
Before you know
like
it,
you
it's
said, if you,
yeah over.
yeah, you got a team out the back. Someone's just finished classic physique, and then the open bodybuilders are getting ready to go on, and they're giving everyone a hand.
Yep,
It's good. It's good that you guys have come together as well, because you can sort of spread the good message
for sure.
better.
Yeah.
If you were individuals, yeah, you'd have good impact, but coming together, I think, sort of expands that name for a good way. That's sort of how I
It's
like to
also
look at it.
building that community as well. Like again, you guys will be similar. Like it's just that community that you've got. All your clients can come together. Like we have maybe 1 to 3 meetups a year, and Finn has his own gym now. So he's got the physique club that he runs with Reese Fit.
Hmm.
And that's like a really good facility. It's like quite a personal one. It's not like a personal gym, but it's not like a big giant gym. It's not a huge space.
Yeah.
Like we get everyone there. There's maybe like 100 people there, 50 to 100 people, and it's just like open for the full Saturday. Ideally in the summertime, they've got like their big shutter up. It's scorching outside. Like it's absolute peak. It's so good, and for
Scorching.
everyone.
What are we talking scorching here,
Oh
Josh?
yeah, if that's a cold winter's day for you. It's 25
Nah.
degrees here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
our
just
weather's horrendous just now.
yeah.
Horrendous.
Why's that?
I'll see. What temperature is it? It's 4 degrees and it's pissing a rain outside just now.
Ooh.
It's just like
Bit of this
it's just
sleep
grey all the
action going
time.
on, or
Yeah, it was snowing yesterday morning, like in the middle of March.
yeah,
Terrible.
love that.
You guys will
But
be
how?
roasted. Yeah?
Yeah, we're sort of coming out of summer now. It's definitely get a couple of cooler days. You get
Mm,
that here. It gets really crispy. That's the only way
got
to
you.
describe it. Like the air gets crisp. It's not as humid. We get pretty humid days during summer, and then it just gets a little bit cooler, nice and crisp. But the sun's still always very strong.
Yeah, that'd
You'll
be
be in the
nice.
shade and you need a jumper, but then you
Yeah,
go for a walk in the sun. It's like, oh, quick, take it off, and unless it's a
I
really
was
cold day.
discussing with my girlfriend about this yesterday, actually. Like, I'd like to be in a place where summer is summer and winter is winter. Like there's a noticeable difference. Scotland, as much as it is slight difference, like summer is still filled with pretty rainy, like grey days, and then the
Yeah,
winter is just rainy grey days but colder. And it's like sometimes it's sunny, sometimes it's shit, and it's like there's no real change between it. Like, see, the good thing is when a warm day comes around in Scotland, it's like holy shit, this is the best thing ever. Like the
everyone's
sun will come
buzzing.
out and yeah, it makes it like 10 times better. But it'll be good if the summer can come round and like show season for us again. To be fair, like we've got shows kind of running all throughout, and it's similar to what you said for
Yeah,
like what you've got now. Like we've got kind of like late April, and then going through May, you've got some like UKDFBA shows that used to be the MBW International. We now have PCA running natural shows, so they were usually just assisted shows, but they run their natural ones now. So that's like all throughout the
mm,
year. We've got PCA, WNBF, UKDFBA, BNBF. Um, I think that's it. Maybe missing any other kind of big ones, but they run all throughout, like between April all the way through to October time. It's quite consistent because there's shows in July, August as well, and then obviously like the kind of big ones like your British Championships, and then the Worlds are usually towards that back end, like September,
yeah.
October time. I don't know what I want to do because I'm going to be competing again next year,
Okay.
kind of late in next year hopefully.
Hold
But
off one more year and we'll link it up.
you go in 2028.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Right.
that's the yeah.
I was thinking of it
Man,
maybe
just some of
this
those
year.
open guys,
Um,
I just know I need that little bit extra time to be, like
Again, we're both
competitive.
pretty young. It's like just building up that maturity and taking time with doing so. Like, again, I stepped off stage in 2023.
Mm.
I feel like I've never even competed before at this point, say because it's been so long. Like, oh, did I even do that? Sometimes I'll come across a picture, I'm like, oh, that's me. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy to think about. But yeah, I'll be going late 2027, and I actually think it would be better if I was competing earlier on because like prepping
With
through
clients.
not through winter time but through like September, October, and then getting into November for the Worlds, like it's just a bit miserable in Scotland. Like, it's
Long.
like cold in the mornings, yeah, you're waking up and it's
Yeah.
dark outside and it's -3 and you're going out for a walk and you've already got no body fat on you. Your fingers don't work for the next hour when you get back in the house. Like I feel like the kind of middle of the year shows would be ideal, like early to mid, because then you start prep maybe like slap bang start of January, like New Year, let's go. You start prep there, and then you've got like 20 weeks or so until the first show, and you kind of end up being really lean for summer, and it maybe gets a little bit warmer. Then you start to reverse out from there, and stuff like that. But it's just a shame that all the like worlds and the British Championships and stuff are towards the back end of the year, kind of like September, October, November time, because that's what I want to shoot
Yeah.
for. But it would probably be better. It's usually busier for clients at the end of the year, and I want to compete when it's not as busy for clients. So I'm not entirely sure what I want to do yet. We've still got time to decide, but we'll see.
And I mean, you probably ideally choose shows that line up well with worlds, but I'm sure opinions expressed across the globe that, it'd be nice if worlds was just a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
Like,
I would
you didn't
agree.
have guys in contests lean condition for over 8 weeks. Like that's
Yeah.
really, really on the rev limiter there when you get to that 8 week mark, and
It's that
it's
gap
hard
between
graft.
your final show local to you
Oh,
in
yeah,
your country, and then there's just this big giant gap for the worlds. It's like, why are you doing it mid-November, guys?
super
Come
tough.
on. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a difficult one.
yeah,
I think it's Canada this year, isn't it?
yeah.
So
It's kind of cool.
yeah, it'll be sick. Hopefully go out
Yeah.
to it.
Okay. Nice. I think
LA was good there for the 2025 one, because I had
yeah,
Petru, one of my guys, and Brandon both competing
classic.
in it. Yeah, Petru was great. I'm excited to see what happens with him. He was really good. He ended up winning the WNBF UK, the Supernaturals. He won his class there, placed second in the overall, but got his pro card because he got beat by Toyton. I don't know if you've seen him, Toyton Ekundayo. He's an
Hmm.
absolute freak, crazy.
Phenomenal athlete.
Yeah, like he's just a step above. He's an IFBB pro now. Like he's 21 years old. He's got one of the most ridiculous natural physiques I've ever seen. So they still gave Petra a pro card because they were like, you can't compete with that. Like you still deserve the pro
That's pretty
card, but
cool.
you're not
I
beating
don't mind that.
Toyton. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
he
don't mind that.
deserved it. Like when they're just giving out pro cards for the sake of it and just like, oh yeah, there you go, and just giving out more. Like I don't agree with that. But when there's a pro worthy physique there, it's like, yeah, for sure. Why
What
not?
do you
And
think? I saw a junior. I think it's Brandon. He got he got a pro card, correct,
one
as
of
well.
our guys, Brandon G.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes. Yeah, yeah. He
yeah.
got his pro card. He done
Did
well.
he
That was
win
the
that through juniors or he won his overall class?
Yeah, so he won his junior class, and then I believe there was like a junior overall, and they were saying like they're not gonna give it a pro card unless it's deserved in the junior overall. So the junior overall was like the short, the tall, and then there was a teen, and then there was like the junior classic stuff and everything. So there was a good few classes in there. There was still maybe like 7 or 8 people in the lineup, and then he won that, and then they handed out the overall there because the top three guys were still really good in that overall. And again, Brandon, I would say, does have a pro worthy physique, so they were like, yeah, we're gonna hand that out. They were kind of just saying like, we'll decide on the day. We're not gonna guarantee it, but if it's a worthy physique, then we'll give out the pro cards.
Yeah, yeah. And I think as long as you've got, and I think most WMBF judging panels are quite up to date. Like they're not, you know, out outdated is not the right word, but people that aren't up with the times and
Yeah,
familiar, and they're actually getting out there doing lots of shows. I think it's it's a good thing that you're sort of encouraging guys that deserve it, that don't have to do another contest prep to get it. When
yeah.
to some degree they could get it. But then I
And
also
hopefully
do like the
it's
pursuit
me.
of it just having there's just that one card, and if Bob's your uncle comes out from 4 hours inland and no one's ever heard of him and he just rocks up and absolutely
Yeah.
rinses everyone, it's like, well,
What can you
uh,
do?
yeah. So it's I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
Again, it just
Um,
depends, doesn't it? Because you see like the WNBF Canada shit, and you're like, oh, like there's pro cards getting handed out to people like 14 weeks out of condition, and you're like, what's going on here? But
yeah,
I guess
that's
again, it's
that
just the
that's when
standards of that.
it's yeah, that's when it's a bit like
You don't want to be
apples and
nasty, do you?
oranges.
Like, I'll never comment on them or anything there because people are like going at the person in the comment section, fucking giving
Yeah,
them a hard time and stuff. Like it's not their fault that they've been handed the pro cards. Like
it's
they've just
WNBF.
went, yeah, exactly. They've went in, they've competed, they've done the best they could. They maybe don't have a massive amount of knowledge on what true stage condition is. They maybe haven't seen it before. Maybe they have and they're just, not great, or they're not kind of actually adhered to the prep properly. And I don't know, but it's not their fault. They're not the one that's been asked to get posted with it. Like WNBF had posted it, and then they're leaving the comment sections on. You're like, oh, this is only going to go one way. It's
Mm,
difficult in that sense, but I think the UK has pretty good standards with that. Like, I feel the UK has pretty good standards with competing in general. I feel like it is because it's just a little bit of a more kind of tight knit community, like
yeah,
across those bigger federations. There is federations that are a lot smaller now, like the NABA, the UK BFF, and stuff like that, like that are very old school federations that aren't really kind of, I don't know, that they're not up to date. There's maybe some ones like that where you go in and most people will be out of shape, and it's just kind of like older guys that aren't thinking much about like peeled glutes or anything. That's just go in and just be as big as possible and stuff like that. But through the UKDFPA, the WNBF, the BNBF, like the standards are usually really good when you go to those shows. There's a
no,
big
you
difference
guys.
like between the natural shows and the assisted ones because there's the PCA Scotland, and I used to go to that. And I was like, why are these guys all out of shape? Like the assisted guys, maybe because it's earlier in the season, but like from the assisted shows versus the natural ones, like I go to the natural ones and the standard as a whole is so much higher. It's a lot better.
Yeah, I think you look at it what you can control as a natural athlete. It's like you can control your conditioning. You can get
Yeah.
peeled. Uh, we can only be as big as the time that we give ourselves. The assisted guys, they might choose to do like a 14-week prep and try and string out as much growth as possible and just, really make things really difficult in terms of like a contest prep and push really hard in terms of the needle.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, that's one thing I've seen as well. It's like just getting in shape is sort of the standard, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a non-negotiable in my eyes. Like you get in stage condition, you of course have to play the game of only pulling to the extent that the body will allow. If you
Yeah. Not pushing
get
too
to a
much.
point,
Yeah.
yeah, just chasing, a 1% improvement in conditioning, but then you lose a lot of fullness, or you start to really push the body so much that training becomes so impacted, muscle
Yeah.
loss starts to occur. It's like, okay, so you do have to play that balance, but still, I think conditioning is a standard. We've got to get in condition, guys.
Yeah, it's a difficult one because again, sometimes like you know yourself, some people you drop their food a little bit, and before you know it, they're like pretty much in. And you're like, oh shit, I'm just gonna need to start feeding them up more and more and more. There's other people that you need to really push hard, and like certain areas just aren't coming through, and there is a massive genetic kind of role within that. But as you say, like if you've got a good coach, if everything's in a good spot, you start prep a little bit earlier to actually make up for that. Whereas again, like with the natural guys and within the natural community, I feel like we put that across quite well on Instagram and podcasts and YouTube, so people are aware of it, but maybe not so much on the assisted sides. Like these guys are just, oh fuck it, 12-week prep. And they've got assistants there, so it's like, oh, I can just smash all this and hopefully I'll get in shape. And you're like, you're maybe like beach body ready, like you'll be the leanest guy in Ibiza, but you're not going to be the leanest guy on a bodybuilding stage. Like there's a big difference, and people don't realize that. Like people, and again, a lot of it is just lack of education, which is the difficult part. Like, and again, you don't want to give them a hard time for it because maybe their first time or this and that. But if you're consistently showing up out of shape when you know the standard, it's like something's wrong, and I need to change that. Like, take action on
Mm,
it.
yeah, we like to phrase it. 20 weeks out is a beach body lean
Yeah,
physique. So
yeah, for
that
sure.
sort of puts in perspective. Oh, there's another 20 weeks to go. Like, what the fuck happens during there?
That's
It's
about
like,
five
well,
months. There's a big
yeah,
difference.
yeah, you got to take things slow. Has your approach changed at all, like throughout the your time you've been coaching guys through contest preps? Have you really pushed for people, to be with you a certain period of time before they start contest prep?
Yeah, I've always been like that, to be fair. But kind of knuckling down on it more nowadays because realistically, like how they get how they are on stage and how they look is a reflection of my coaching. If someone starts with me at the start of prep and I've not been able to actually get them into a good spot beforehand, they're not going to look as good as they could or should on stage if they'd spent more time with me beforehand, getting to know them, like not even just their body, but like their psychology and what they think and how they communicate and understanding that person. Like you
Yeah.
need to speak to different people different ways. Some people really like a let's fucking go then, let's have it. Like, don't think about anything, just go, go, go. Some people need a little bit more understanding. And if you just start the prep with them straight away and you've not really had any other time outside of that with them, it's hard to know what kind of person they are, how to actually communicate with them. More so having obviously the physical side of things, like running a pre prep diet, being able to actually assess how the body responds. Because again, you don't know, they could be someone that gets in shape super easy within the space of 8 weeks. Like, you're already starting to think, fuck, his glutes are coming in, like what's happening here? Or it could be the guy that takes 20 weeks, so actually knowing that through the kind of pre-prep diet. I don't know if you guys run that quite a lot, but we are quite big advocates of, maybe about a year out. So let's say you're competing September 2026, you should have had your pre-prep diet somewhere around September 2025, maybe even earlier, kind of August, July time. And that's maybe going to be like a 12 to 14, maybe 16 at the most, diet where you actually do look to get not in stage condition, but somewhere within striking distance, maybe a couple kg off. And you can start to see like a lot more detail push back up from there slowly. It's just that kind of like metabolic improvement, building the food up without getting too much body fat, still being pretty lean, and then starting the prep from there. So I've always been quite big on that because it makes the prep so much easier. Like, I can't even emphasize enough how much like that makes a big difference. People just start their preps peak off season now. They don't really think about it too much. Oh no, I'll be fine. I've got loads of time.
It's from two perspectives though, not just yours, also the athletes. The actual experience is it's easier.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you're not you're not
You don't come out of it hating
dragging.
bodybuilding and never want to train again
Yeah,
because you've had to get pushed way
exactly.
too hard. Like,
Recovery phase will be better. You'll probably recover quicker too, and you're not dragging ass for weeks on end. Like,
yeah.
yeah, and that's really the thing. I had a chat with Dirk the other day,
Hmm.
Dirk Emrich,
Yeah.
and you know he doesn't need to do preps that are that long. I think it's like 20, 24 weeks, but he's in good shape.
Yeah. He's
And,
always he's always within
yeah,
shooting distance pretty much. Yeah.
exactly. And he could probably even, you know, do it shorter, but it's long enough that it's not too long and just like, pointless to the extent where what's the point in doing 30 weeks here?
Yeah.
But it's long enough that he can really control that rate of loss at, a really appropriate rate that will just ensure he maintains even more muscle than, in the
Definitely.
past. And that was one thing he said. He said, you know, I want to retain even more muscle mass. So I'm in a better position. I'm going to be heavier than I was before. So, don't need to get that timeline can sort of shift again. So yeah, it's something that maybe I'll play around with next time I do a prep. I'll be in a bit better condition, given that you
I mean,
got some previous data.
your condition was great though. Like, it just depends, like let's say even with Dirk, again from 12 weeks out, like he could step on a stage and be
Mm,
very, very respectable. He'd be like, oh, he's peeled. But like there is just that difference. And especially when you get to the pro ranks of like, oh, what the fuck is that? And like that 12 weeks is like you need to be very, very intricate with it and make
yeah,
sure that again you're not pushing too much, you're not pulling back too much, but it's just that little bit by little bit by little bit. And when you get to those levels, you do need to be in it for those little 1%. Like that, it could be 2% better conditioning, but that could be the difference between first and fourth place, especially for someone like Dirk, who's not huge. He's not, obviously, he's going against other, lightweights, bantamweights, and stuff like that. But that condition really, really does matter. And like hitting the nail on the head with that and being able to not push yourself too much is a big thing. I remember there was an Australian guy, I think AJ was coaching him, who prepped for
Nick
like
Tanner.
no, I know who Nick is, but he literally prepped for like 3 or 4 weeks. Is his name Jack, maybe? It was in
Oh
20,
yeah, Jack. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
mate, like he
Yeah,
prepped for
that
like
was hilarious.
he prepped for like 6 weeks and then went and won like overalls left, right, and center. Like,
Yeah,
again, it depends like what condition you're in and where you're at. But he was obviously peeled. But if he was to go into like really high level pro ranks, Like it would need a little bit more time just to get things like really perfectly dialed in. But like again, you can still be, if you hold good shape year round and you're doing a mini cut and you're like, oh, it looks sick and you've got a lot of muscle, like you can make it work. But when it comes to like the pro worlds and stuff, you really need to kind of be a bit more accurate with that.
Absolutely. And you like you said with Dirk, he would be respectable potentially at 12 weeks out, but he needs that last 12 weeks to slow stuff down. To those, the unit of gain per unit of fat loss is obviously a lot higher. Like you're getting more visual improvements, but the actual effort that's required is far greater than it is
Yeah, it's
at
going
the
up
start
along
of the
with that.
diet. So you got to really slow things down. But I mean, talking about pro worthy or pro level conditioning. I don't know. I think he's a UK guy. I'm going to bring it up, but the clinically shredded for the posterior, like that guy on the left's glutes are insane.
I've never seen anything like it before, mate. It's bonkers.
Did you see it in
Yeah,
person?
yeah, I've competed against him before. It's
Wow.
Chris Pauling or Paling.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely sure.
unbelievable.
Mate, like in person, it's just so crazy. It's like someone sewing his glutes like into the middle. Like you can literally see like every bit. I remember I was
Yeah,
backstage, and it's just crazy. Like it was pumping up, and as he was walking about, I could just like see his glutes firing up with every step. And I'm
yeah,
backstage there as like a 18-year-old just thinking, oh fuck, I'm so far out of my depth here.
yeah.
You'll be able to see, yeah,
Unbelievable,
look, if
honestly.
you look at that there, like, it's crazy how much he's improved.
Yeah.
He's
I mean,
obviously a lot of that
you
comes
could
from,
argue his back is in similar shape, but
yeah,
his glutes, man, they are in.
yeah. Obviously, posing makes a difference there, but like muscularity and the maturity through them, like, will be the biggest thing there.
Yeah,
He beat
absolutely.
Con Lewis, like that photo that you're on where there was the three guys stood there. Um, I think that was like relatively controversial because Chris is small and he's obviously got a really good set of glutes, but Con, I would say, takes him on most other shots in terms of shape and
Mm.
muscularity, but his
Connor
condition,
on the
like,
right here or the left?
no, in the pink trunks.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. So it's AJ's client. He ended up beating an absolute monster, a guy called Kai Gedden. He's 114 kg or something on stage as a natural, and he was pretty peeled. He's like six foot
Tall.
seven. Yeah, yeah, he's massive. But yeah, like Chris is just one of those guys that's just bonkers lean.
Yeah.
He's so ridiculously shredded. Like again, he's not big at all though. Like I honestly think he's like high 50 kgs.
That's
He's quite
nuts.
short. I know it's crazy to look like that at high 50s, but he never ever like he trains at Finn's gym. And when you see him in
Yeah, right.
person, like he never ever gets soft. Honestly, like could step on stage at all times. Like peak off season, he'd still look again in respectable condition. So he's one of those guys like similar to Dirk who's just always peeled. I say Dirk's not always like absolutely skinned, but Chris is like an even more extreme kind of example of that. He's
Mm.
crazy. I remember just backstage seeing him. He would do his press ups as well. And he'd come off and he'd kind of contract his chest, and you could just see everything go. It was like, oh, that's crazy. Me as a wee 18-year-old, I was just getting into competing. I was quite happy with how I was looking. I was like, yeah, no one's as lean as me. And I looked over and seen how I was like, oh no, I'm so
Yeah.
cooked.
And it's pretty cool the genetic difference between people. And, some are gonna like their chest just lights up, like they got all that detail, and then others are just super vascular. It's like, what's going on there? And
Yeah.
everyone's got their body parts that get leaner easier than others. What was easiest for you, or hardest? Probably is a better question for you to get lean.
I'm quite lucky in the sense that my body fat distribution is pretty even and I get lean quite easily. Like I'm one of those guys that can get pretty lean pretty quick. I had no issues getting like my glutes and hamstrings shown and they were, if anything, like one of the first areas to come through, which is super weird and kind of rare. Like so usually people are chasing, some peeled glutes or some hamstring detail and everything else is in. My back has always been like my leanest body part, just like kind of off season wise. Like I'll hit a rear double and you can still see like vascularity, like a little bit of kind of like graininess in a sense, even when I'm a little bit heavier. But yeah, like I was quite lucky that everything came in quite quickly, and my hamstrings were, I'd probably say, like my best body part to come through and like really show a lot of detail. My glutes weren't like crystalline, but you know they had some nice detail through them. I
Yeah,
didn't really struggle to get anywhere in. Like my triceps was always my trump cards. I used to just farm like
mate.
reels showing the
Yeah, I
triceps
know.
all the time. That was how to get the
Everyone's
extra
like,
followers,
"Oh,
you know.
not natty, not natty," and you're like, "Just keep it coming, boys. It's
Oh mate,
exactly
it
what I
was
want."
brilliant. Like everyone would just argue in the comment sections, and I'd just leave them to it. Like I wouldn't even
Yeah,
have to say anything. Like there's people going at it, and I'd wake up in the morning and there's like hundreds of comments, just like people arguing. I'm like, keep going, lads, keep going. And if it would fizzle out, I'd add in just a little something, and then they'd keep going again. And it was great for pushing it in the algorithm. But
yeah, it's hilarious how easily things can cascade in that sense.
you get a little bit lean, a little bit vascular, and people are like, oh yeah, not that.
Yeah,
Like, come on,
yeah,
guys, is the standard that low? Like, I was 65 kg. Like, if I was on gear, I'd be fucking asking for a refund. You know, like 65 kg, come on.
that's what I say to people. I say, you know, I looked like this, but how heavy do you think I was? And they'll be like, oh, like, 85, or it's like, no, I was 77 kilos. And, it's the last time I was that weight, I was in primary school. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like I was at most 12 years old, or
yeah,
like a little bit older potentially. But you know what I mean? Like, it's not many people appreciate the look compared to the weight.
yeah.
Just recently, yesterday, there was a post that WMBF Australia pulled out, and I think the bloke's profile picture is a pony.
Yeah.
He's following two people, and he's just talking smack about the polygraphs and the testing, and it's like, mate, firstly, if you're going to talk some rubbish, have your profile up, all right?
Yeah, I actually have something there. And it's always people with
Yeah,
nothing. Always.
stand behind your words with yourself if you truly believe in it. Um, but the funny thing was, I was like, I wonder if I can figure out, who it actually is. And he's only following two people. So it's like,
Hmm.
ah, you know, not that it
Figure
really
it out.
matters, but yeah, you could figure it out. So it's not like you're hiding behind much, mate.
Yeah, people are.
Um,
I think people are just like pure chronically online as well. Like they could just say anything. There's no issues with it. Like just say what they want, or again, even have at other people and be quite personal with it. And it's like the words can actually have a bit of an effect on people as well. Like again, with people competing or people being out of shape, as much as a thing like, oh, they don't look great and maybe shouldn't be on stage. Like I'm never gonna fucking comment and like start having at them because it's like it's just a shame. You know, like people
it's a
just
shame, and there's so much
yeah,
more to the story too that you might have no idea about, right?
yeah, for sure.
Like you had Martin Fitzwater getting absolutely rinsed by everyone, and I was sitting back saying, like, it's really easy to pull someone down, but it seems to be a lot more difficult to bring people up, right?
Yeah.
But it has so much more meaning and impact. Where you could be celebrating people that performed really well, everyone's just focusing on, an instance, which,
Yeah, the
obviously,
whole Arnold's
it,
was like all it turned into was just Martin.
yeah,
Like people
like, of
forgetting that
course, it
Andrew
wasn't
put his
appropriate,
time in.
but we've got to bring people up. Like, it's as simple as you had a really nice conversation with someone and you tell them, hey, like, thanks for the really nice chat. Or you get home and talk shit about, someone who you used to go to school with. It's like, what are you going to choose to do? There's one that has such a more positive impact on people and yourself.
And even
But
if
a
you
lot of
do
people just
have,
focus on the negatives.
yeah, like if you do have something shit to say, just keep it to yourself. Like say it in your own head, maybe get a wee giggle out of it, but you don't need to put it out there. Like again, it just made the
Yeah.
whole Arnold's about Martin, and I think it's fair, honestly, that he was dropped by his sponsors in the sense the fact that he was like doubling down on it. He was like voice noting fans, like fucking having at them and shit. And obviously
The
his head
stories
wasn't.
were funny. Did you see those?
Oh, the AI Joker, mate. I was
Yeah.
wetting myself. And it's like, obviously, he's not in a great headspace, but he's done it before. Like, he's been a bit of a cunt now and again, and it's not
I
great.
remember
And
that, hearing of that, I think 2020, with Andrew or Nick or
Yep.
whoever, when he was sort of first coming onto the scene.
Yeah, he's always been a bit like I really like Martin. I like his training, his mindsets, and YouTube videos and stuff like that. But like it is just like it's so unprofessional, and you can only get away with so much. Like obviously, yes, he needs to be held accountable to it and this and that. Like you can't just continue to let him away with it. But when people are just constantly having it happen, you're a grown man. Like I'm talking about these people that are commenting and still going at it. It's like you're a grown man. Why do you care that much or feel the need to have to comment on this even further? Like he's obviously been held accountable for his actions and just leave it as that. Like I think it's fair that he was dropped by his sponsors because he literally shut down his account. Like no one's going to use a code if they can't actually find his account. I was struggling to get to find it because he kind of shut it down entirely. It was fucking off his fans. He was literally shouting at them in voice messages and putting up like AI Joker shit. It's like we're going to get nothing from this, and this is going to reflect badly on our business. So it's fair dues. Like from a professional standpoint, I think that makes sense. But I think people just need to drop it now in a sense. He's been held accountable. If he decides to continue to be a prick, then that's on him. And again, it's only going to get worse. But give him a chance.
Yeah, and you can use this to reflect upon yourself if you're one of these people that is still hounding about it. Martin was an example of did something silly and shit, then chose to sort of double down on it, which
Yeah,
obviously reflected he was not in a good place. Like he's not accepting his acts and behaviors. But then
yeah.
everyone that's double downing on giving him shit at the same time, it's like anyone who
They're the
is
exact
happy,
same as what he's done. They're doing the
yeah,
exact same thing. Yeah,
anyone who's happy with themselves and, is living their life, no one's doing that. I
you
can
don't
tell
feel the
you
need to
right
do
now,
it. Yeah,
no one gives a damn. Like they're worried about themselves. They're like, cool, that wasn't not a good thing, but I don't need to get involved. So yeah,
people just
it's
get
like,
so attached to things and so I don't know wound up by it. Like I remember there was a guy who tested positive for Osterine, I think it was in the UK. So it was in one of the PC Natural shows, and then with the drug testing, it came back that it all went a bit tits up, and they posted about it straight away. So they didn't even send them like the results and say like this is what's happened. They just posted, an athlete has been tested positive for Osterine. They didn't tag him or anything, but like people kind of found out who it was and it all came out in the comment section. People are like, you're a fucking disgrace, like embarrassing, this and that. And I went onto his page and then like he had a post with his girlfriend and I clicked on his girlfriend and in her comment sections they're like, how does it feel to be with a cheat and he's not a man and this and that. Like I'm like, how have you went to this length to go find her to then comment on her shit? It's like it's and again like if I 1,000,000% knew that it was all true and that he was just cheating scum, then maybe I'd maybe comment like, yeah, this is embarrassing, mate. Like you're always gonna get caught out. Don't try to get away with that shit. But like there wasn't that confirmation yet, and it turns out that it wasn't even him. They'd mixed up the testing results and shit. And like
unbelievable.
it was on separate dates and everything. He's a coach. He's a natural coach. And his whole thing is based off of being natural. And obviously, people are seeing him as dishonest now. It's taken away his business. It's taken away his livelihood. Like, imagine the anxiety and everything that would have caused for him just because people are so quick to just assume and then just have at someone. It's like, I cared about, like, what was happening there, but I never cared enough to comment and, like, try to say shit when I didn't 1,000,000% know. People just
Yeah,
so quick to jump the gun and shit. That's why I don't let the whole fake natty thing bother me because it's usually just fucking idiots that are like commenting it anyway or people that just don't have much control over their emotions. Like there's no point in me even trying to debate or argue with them because they're so delusional and just like so in their own head and try to convince them that, oh yeah, like maybe I'm not in good shape or I'm not happy, so I'm gonna put it onto him instead. And it's you just need to kind of separate yourself from stuff like that. Your life will be significantly better if you just live your own and just enjoy what you're
yeah,
doing. Stop worrying about others.
absolutely. Actions speak louder than words a lot of times.
Indeed.
Now, at the moment, man, what's so you 2027 season, do you have you someone that writes things down in terms of goals, whether it be process or objective orientated?
I do have goals, but like they're not. Again, it's bodybuilding. It depends who turns up on a day. It's subjective. Like my goal, as cringy as it sounds, is to beat my previous self. Like it is just That's the goal. Right now, I'm sitting around 80 kg, so I'm 16 kg up from stage condition where I was last time, and I'm still in like pretty good shape. I've got like a little teeny bit of glute lines left, hamstrings showing like good vascularity, striations through my chest and stuff. So it's like I know that I'm gonna be like low to mid 70s if I've got another
Mm.
full year of growing here and then coming back down. So I'm excited to see that and like the improvements that were made there. I would like my WNBF Pro cards, but it's not
It's
like
going to be
if I don't.
competitive though, like just knowing weights, like you're going to be in the
Yeah,
mix.
I'm hoping so. Like again, I was always the guy that was very conditioned and had good shape, but I was undersized and obviously I was because I was 18 years old and I'd only
Yeah.
took bodybuilding maybe seriously for like 6 to 9 months beforehand. I've been training since I was 15 and having at it and training hard. I've always done so, but I'd only been like really on my shit for like maybe 6 to 9 months before. So like I didn't have a huge amount of muscle maturity. But now I've obviously spent that time. So it's like if I can be the condition guy, obviously getting better condition because I have more muscle, the shapely guy, I've built more muscle, so it's only going to add to that. But also be the guy that's like, oh shit, he's got a lot of muscle. Like if I can add all them together, I feel like I will have, or hopefully will have, a pro worthy physique. I back myself with that. But again, it just depends if some guy that no one knows turns up on the day and he's just an absolute freak of nature. And there might even be guys that people do know that turn up and there's a crazy, crazy top two, and I maybe don't even get that pro card. And again, I'm not basing my success next season off of a pro cards. I feel like a lot of people do so. It's more so a case of beating myself by like a good distance. I don't want to just be like, all right, he's a little bit better. It's like I took 4 years off. I best be a lot better. I'd like to go out to the Worlds, hopefully. Again, it depends on what kind of part of the season I do it. I do need to decide on that based off of my clients competing and stuff like that. But I'd like to do like a good few shows in the UK. The MBW International was really good last year, AJ's show.
Yeah,
If
it's
I can
awesome,
do
man.
that,
Love it.
it looks really good. So like
Yeah.
just the production of it all and the media package and stuff you get, like the athletes, it's very athlete focused and centered as you'd expect. Kind of with AJ, it's a well ran show. So I'd like to do that WNBF UK and then WNBF Worlds. There's the BNBF Scottish show, which is like the only Scottish show that you get. They used to do like a UKDFB one, so that's like a local one. So hopefully I can go in there and mog everyone in front of the family.
Yeah, you
That's
got
the
to do a
goal.
local show for the fam.
Yep, exactly. But
Yeah,
yeah,
cool.
we'll see how things go. I'm just excited to actually get really lean again. Like it's again been so much time since I've last been in that position. Like the diet that I've just done there, I went from 86 kg down to 76 kg, and when I started to see everything come to life, I was like, "Oh, I'm so excited." Like it made me
Yeah.
think, should I do 2026? And I even messaged Finn. I was like, we should do 2026, and I was joking there, just sent a wee like unless, and then like Shrek sitting like that. I was like, oh, we should I do it? Should I do it? And he was like, nah, be patient. And I was like, yeah, realistically, you should be patient as well. So I'm excited just to do it again, mate, as well.
I think for you, man, and this like lent into my sort of decision as well to have 2 years off. You're young, and you're not going to make progress like this. I don't think.
Yeah,
When you're older, it will just sort of slow down a little bit. So it's like, let's get in. Like while we're fruitful, like let's make as
for
much
sure.
progress as possible. How much weight do you think you're going to be up from previous stage weight?
So I was 64 kg at my lightest. I think based off of where I was there at 76.5 kg, I'll be, I'd like to say maybe 72 to 74 kg. That would be sick. If I'm low 70s, if I'm a little bit lower than that, I'd still be happy. But I think I'd like to say I'm 70 kg plus. We'll
So that
see.
you said 65 was your first.
I was 64 was my lowest, 65 was probably my best look. So again, if that's a good 8 kg of stage condition, stage
Great.
like
Two
that's a
kilos
lot
a
more.
year.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. But again, it depends. Like some people are like, well, you're probably just gonna be the same weight because you'll improve in your condition. But like I was pretty peeled.
You were in good condition, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not as if there was much room to really improve that. Obviously, like there'll be certain areas that are harder and just grainier because I've got more muscle. But I think in
Mm.
terms of condition, like 65 to 66 kg was a really good look, and then like 64 pushed it. Like I just flattened off a lot, and like as much as I was a bit leaner, like I really it took away from everything else. So I think that was kind of like my maximum condition for that season.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like from the front, looks great. I
Like
know you
the
always had a good
legs
rear
weren't
shot
great
too.
because they flattened off a little bit, but
Yeah. Well, you had a
that
long
was one of the
season
better
too,
looks.
right?
Hmm?
You had a long season?
Yeah. I done 7 shows. I started
How many
prep
weeks?
late March and finished, mid-November time. So that was, yeah, like the kind of like low to mid 30s, I think.
What was that
So
experience like going for that long?
I honestly just didn't think about it much. Like I was quite new to bodybuilding, so I was like, oh, this is just normal. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I just didn't really think and just like continued to get my head down and work. And it was only till after I was like, oh, I was a bit cooked there.
You
But like at the time, I was
well,
just like, I'm fine.
yeah. That's honestly, I had the same thing, man. You just put your head down, do the work.
Keep working.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I like to think of it as a conducive delusion. You think, oh yeah, I feel great. Like I had my, 2 refeeds this week. Yeah, life's great. I get to train.
yep.
But then you come out the other end. You're like, I was quite delusional in my
You need to
mentality. But
like gaslight yourself a little, don't you? Just into
you
being like,
need
yeah,
it,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
You need it. You have to. I think to some degree. But I will say at the same time, next time I go around, I want to listen to my body a bit more.
yep.
There was a couple of times where,
Same with me.
yeah, I go out for walks and coffees with my partner at the time, and some days I'd rack up 15,000 steps. I didn't need to. My step mem was, I don't know, like 9,000 or 10,000 for the
Yeah.
day. And that makes a difference. Like hitting
When
15
you're
to
in that spot,
20,000
that makes a
when you're in
difference.
that spot. And it tipped me over. And I think it was maybe I think it was just before peak week too. And it kind of put everything in the shitter. Like
Yeah.
I had to take a little bit of time off training, and so I lost my momentum there. And you might have something similar. It normally takes you a good 4 to 7 days to get back into your same numbers after you were sick for a couple of days. And so that sort of put me on the back burner. You have that peak week, drop off a bit of training intensity, and it's like, okay, now we're talking a week where my training intensity wasn't the same as it has been previously, and then had that post-show period where it felt really weird on top of that. So yeah, I'd really like to sort of listen to myself a bit more.
There is a middle
And
ground, isn't there?
yeah,
Like
exactly.
you can listen to yourself too much, and every time you're a little bit tired, a little bit draggy, you're like, oh, what do I need to do something? Do I need to refeed? What was the situation here? And then there's the side where you're like, nah, fuck it, I'm fine, just pure stoic, and you're dying. You're absolutely cooked. And you're like, nah, I'm fine, I'm fine. It's like there needs to, and I think that comes with time and experience, like just maturity within the process, and within doing multiple seasons. You get to know your body better. You see the signs, and you're aware of the signs beforehand. I liked the fact that I was quite, like I wasn't massively educated on bodybuilding like as I went into that prep, so I didn't really know what to expect. And I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna work. I'm just gonna not gonna worry about anything, and do what Finn tells me to do. But there would be feedback that I would be missing in terms of like giving him objective feedback on how I feel. I would miss out on saying, yeah, I feel fucked today. I feel super flat. I was like, in my head, I was thinking, am I just complaining? Like I feel like I'm just complaining if I say that, so I'm not going to say anything. So it's obviously that level of communication and understanding that. And I actually went too far on the other end in the previous diet that I'd done, because like I was quite soft at the high end of the gaining phase, and when I came back down, like I wasn't looking as good as I was expecting, but I was just kind of fat and flat, and I was like, Finn, I look and feel terrible right now, because I was like thinking too much about the photos. I was like, do I need to have more food in this and that, and I was worrying about it too much, and I realized like you're just worrying about it too much. That's the thing that I was worried about. Like beforehand, I was kind of just like ignorance is bliss. I didn't really know much, so I just worked and I just didn't think about anything. But see, now that I'm much more educated, I'm like, oh, is this the right decision to keep on pushing? Should I pull back? Or like you think a little bit too much about it. So I'm still trying to improve on that and trying to find that middle ground of not having my own thoughts about what we should be doing, this and that, get Finn's opinion, and then we communicate and work to the best kind of solution from there. It's trying to find that middle ground and listen to your body, but not too much or not too little. And I think we always
Mm,
improve at that.
yeah. I'd like to think I was pretty good with my communication, but I'd always phrase it like, yeah, I was dragging a lot today, but I'm fine. Like I can push through it. You know, you'd always sort of preface with that to
Yep.
to let them know that it's like I can keep going. You know, if you want me to keep digging, we're good.
Yeah.
Uh, and that would sort of mean, oh, I'm not complaining. I'm sweet. But you know, you've got to use that. And I really like the idea of if I, ever sort of self-coached, of doing my like sending myself check-ins.
Yeah.
I sort of like that idea. You know, you take your shots, you don't even look at them, pull them up, nutrition one screen, training the other, assess everything, and like you write your own check-in. I would like to do that next time I do my prep.
Yeah.
But then the decision's still made with like a second set of eyes too. Like,
Yeah.
come in with Brandon and we go, cool, what's going on? Have a chat, and then make a decision from there. Because it does make things, you can sort of sit back a little bit more when you've got someone else that can
Yeah.
sort of just say yes, no, you're being
Yeah,
stupid.
it's also that decision fatigue. You're not spending so
Mm,
much time, like even the actual time that you're having to sit there and think, and that offsets you for the rest of the day. But there's the mental side of it where you're sat there thinking, oh, was it the right decision? Was it not? Like throughout the rest of the day, you're overthinking it. Whereas when you've got a coach there, it's just like they've got no emotional bias here. It's just objective, isn't it? I think that's the biggest thing with like a contest prep. And again, especially if it is maybe your first time or first few, like having someone there to be able to tell you. And again, even if it's a second set of eyes, if you're close with someone that is a great coach themselves, like being able to have that objective opinion, it's like invaluable. It's crazy.
yeah. Hey, what's training look like at the moment?
For
You split.
myself,
Yeah.
well, split wise, 5 times a week just now. I run this very consistently throughout most of the time. Like I've chopped and changed little bits here and there to try and bring up different body parts, but I run legs, push, pull, rest, lower, upper, rest. So two
Yep.
times per week frequency. A goal to sort of bring up my quads and my chest because my quads are still lagging regarding like my whole physique and I've got legs after each rest day to kind of make sure that I'm fresh going into them. A little bit more
Mm,
prioritization onto the quads compared to the hamstrings and the glutes, and then my chest is a little bit of a weaker body part as well. So just a little bit more volume through the pressing side of things. Like pressing comes at the start of the upper session and stuff, but I really like the simplicity of that split for myself. Like I'd ran previously kind of like a rolling split where I could do like two on one off, two on one off, and I don't know if I'm a statistic or what, but it really fucked me up from like a routine standpoint, and I was just like, this isn't working for me. Like I have certain days, like my rest days, I have more work on because it's my set rest day. I've got more time. When it was two on one off and it was all changing, and every day I was training different days and different weeks, it fucked with my brain a little bit. So yeah, I'm still just running that same split, like just looking to get as strong as possible. I have quite a simple training ideology and the methods with it. Very much just kind of your standard like 2 sets or so per exercise. Murder myself with, intensity. No extra set extenders really, apart from a few wee things here and there, but 0 reps in reserve and just have some fun with it. I feel like it's quite standard, but honestly don't think there's much. Like I always say to clients when they start up, there is no secret with this shit. It's just train hard, be aware of where you are and make sure you're training well. So that's kind of where I sit just now, just looking to get as strong as I can over this next off season with good execution and see where that takes me.
yeah. Cool. What was, when you did the two on one off, was that an upper lower variation, or did you
Yes,
have
so
like,
I've ran that, and then I ran another one as well, which was across like 8 days, and it was training 5 times throughout that. So that was actually a slightly reduced frequency, just because like the time period that it was in, I was a little bit more stressed and injuries and life in general. I had to run a little bit less there, and even at that, like that was technically less training, but it felt just weird. I wasn't a
mm.
massive fan of that, so I do like a kind of set 7 day split for myself.
And what are those? I mean, I'm currently running an upper lower and with like a two on one off. I
Hmm.
don't mind that it's rolling. I'm
Hmm.
able to look past that. Um, I'm just trying to find that balance of doing enough, but not so much that it's going to run into the next session, because you're training every 3 days, and it's pretty frequent.
Yeah.
What did your sessions look like, if you remember?
For like the upper lower split,
Yeah.
or for just now, pretty similar to what I've got for upper lower just now. So I usually run like 6 to 8, maybe 9 exercises depending on the session. But I would usually have pressing first on my upper session. So I have a lateral, 2 presses, and then I'd go into a pull down, a row, a pull down, but maybe like upper back bias instead of lats, and then 2 arm exercises at the ends. Lower session wise, I would have one that was a little more quad dominant, and one that was a little more kind of like glutes and hamstrings dominant as well.
Mm.
So that one would be kind of like my stiff legs and a hip thrust and like a split squat. For the glute and hamstring dominant one, then the quad dominant one would be more so, your hack squat, your leg press, and other stuff like that. But I find that recovery wise, like, I'm not a bit of a bitch, but like my body is. I struggle to recover, even with like sleeping well, obviously eating well, like everything's standardized with that. But I just
Run into
can't
connective
handle.
tissue issues.
It's just more so like it's not injuries and everything like that. It's mostly I just can't really recover very well in the sense of if I've got another session again in 3 days' time that's training the same thing, I'm gonna have very little chance of recovering from that. Like even with the split that I run just now, my legs push pull, my rest lower upper rest, like I sometimes struggle with recovery in that. And I used to
How are you
do
measuring your recovery?
overall soreness and ability to progress on the movements, like especially with my legs, my lower back a lot. I used to do powerlifting a little bit when I started training, and I couldn't really run anything powerlifting wise because it would just fuck me up so much. Like doing
Mm.
everything so consistently or so frequent, like benching pretty frequently, squatting and deadlifting. I found that fucked me up a lot. So I'm a little bit more kind of conservative with my volume, but it's more so focusing on that quality. And as you say, just like trickling in little bits of volume here and there, especially with the quads and the chest. Like I try keep my back volume kind of like minimum effective volume, and then I'll ramp, quads and chest up to maximum recoverable volume as much as I can. And it's just kind of being aware of where I'm at in that sense, but trickling in little bits here and there. So yeah, like again, pretty standard training approach, but it works for me just now is bringing up these body parts. Like I've noticed with my chest, it's been brought up a lot recently, and a lot of that comes down to execution through my chest press. And it was never bad, but I wasn't working within like my active range of motion. My ribs are flared and shit, and I'm just pressing, just get as strong as I can. But recently, it's been a lot more like actually stop where is peak stretch for me without actually having to move my rib cage and everything else, and being super intricate and accurate with that. And I find that that's actually made quite a big difference.
I think execution's such a big influence, right? Like, I like to think of it, if you come off a set and intensity is where it needs to be, and you got a blistering pump, like you've done something really well.
Yeah,
Uh, you know, good execution recreates that metabolic build up, that pump.
yeah.
It's a good byproduct and a good way to go. Okay, yeah, probably did something really right, but that's definitely something I've improved on too of recent. It's like for every rep, I'm getting a lot more, and it's definitely
There's
making a
intent
difference.
behind everyone. Yeah, because
Absolutely,
it's very easy
especially
to just chase the weight, but
yeah,
especially when I'm thinking I just need to be bigger. That's the main thing. I just need to get strong. Like I need to be like these other guys. I need to have that maturity. But if you try rush that process and you drop off execution to try and improve your numbers, like it's not going to go well. You're going to get injured, or it's just not going to. A lot of the time, you just see people doing crazy heavy shit, and it just doesn't actually reflect in their physique. Like, you need to have that execution. And again, when I come off a chest press now, like I would still get a good pump before, and it still feel pretty good. But like I come off it now, and I'm like, my chest feels like it's legit about to explode. Like I feel really uncomfortable, can barely move, in a good way. So trying to implement that for that, and I'm usually quite good at that across the board, but I think because my chest is a little bit of a weaker body part, I was just thinking like I just need to get really strong. And then before you know it, you look back in 8 weeks' time, your executions just started to drop off bit by bit by bit, and they're not anywhere near as nice looking anymore. So really staying on top of that is a big thing for myself while getting stronger this off season.
Yeah, I think you got strong body parts. You'll tend just to be able to sink the load right into the hamstrings or the glutes, whatever it is that your strong body part is. You're just able to, accurately do exactly what you need to do to get the
You don't
most
need
out
to
of
think
every
about
rep.
it as much. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. For arms, I've got a little bit sort of fancy with things, per se, but now I'm getting, blistering bicep pumps, blistering, tricep pumps
And you're
after like
doing cuff
fucking
tricep
great.
extensions,
No.
seat belted into the cable and everything with a foam roller on your arm.
Absolutely not. Well, that's the funny thing, right? I think some people get lost in that stuff. It's actually
Yeah.
it's a bit funny. I it's like doing a leg press without your foot somehow in contact with the plate.
Yeah.
There's a reason we have these things. I think generally you'll get a better connection, but sometimes you don't. You have these different cases of, biomechanics doesn't always result in real world application for everyone.
Yeah.
I like to bring up the sort of the train of toe sort of press. Your heels are completely off and you're doing a leg press.
Yep.
Some people that's great. Biomechanically, it's not sound, but we're not trying to adhere to biomechanical principles. We're trying to build the most muscle possible, and
Yeah.
through that you will get more knee flexion. Absolutely. Can you sustain it? That's really the main question, right?
Yeah.
Do you do
That's the
any of
thing. Like,
your like leg movements like that with some
yeah,
heel lifts?
yeah. So I'm not like massively either or like one way or the other. It's not like heels need to be firmly planted or like AJ when he does leg press sometimes is legit just doing again a toe press. Like his feet are completely like it's just his toes that are on it, and I'm not really one or the other. It's just kind of a happy medium because I do find that if they go too low, I do start to get a little bit of kind of shin pain. Doesn't feel overly
I'm the
comfortable,
same. Yeah.
and more so like I just don't have that same power at the bottom position. Like I'll legit be able to put on like an extra plate per side, and that's not due to me ego lifting or something. When I put them higher up, it's like
It's
there,
biomechanics,
there
man. Force
yeah,
production.
there becomes a point where like it just isn't productive for me. Like I feel out of that bottom position that I'm just completely powerless. I've got no confidence in my ability to actually be able to generate force out that. And I'll always just try and create as much knee flexion as possible, and I will have heel lift, but it's never like excessive. I've
Yeah.
started. I don't know if you've tried this yet, but I've started seatbelting myself in on my hack squats and my pendulum squats. It's the
I've seen Finn do
best
that. I've
thing,
seen you do it.
best
Really?
thing I've ever done. Ridiculous, mate. So if you've got a Cybex hack or anything like that, or if anyone's watching does seatbelt yourself into it, it's incredible. So towards the back end of my hack squats, when I've got my feet relatively low, I'll always notice that like obviously I'll brace well on the way down, make sure it's a good controlled eccentric, but on the way up my hips will just shift that little bit forwards. I lose that stability in it. It makes you lose so much power. You're thinking going into this rep, yeah, I've got it. You get out of the hole and you get halfway up and you just die. You get nothing there. And it's because those hips just shift forward slightly. When you've got that seat belt and you vacuum lock it in as tight as you can. It's there. It's obviously acting as a kind of belt in a sense as well, so you can brace against it, but it's keeping those hips stable. You get so much more from it because your hips stay completely locked in place, meaning that it's
Mm.
only going through the quads. Like it's
So
making
greater
sure that it's,
stability. Yeah.
yeah, isolating straight on there. Like your hips don't move forwards. You can grind out. It's so strange. Like you think, all right, this is the set going to be done in this rep, and you do it, and you can just grind through it. I'm like, I've got another one. I've got another one. You get like an extra 2 or 3 reps, and it like unlocks that little bit extra more there, and I come off of those now and my quads are just so lit up. It's the same with like a leg extension, the seated hamstring curls, the gym pin seat belts. I really do like them. It makes the world of a difference for me. But yeah, it just depends, as you say, personal preference. Like clients always say like, is it okay, like, oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to have my heel come up. I'm like, if it feels good, crack on. If it doesn't, if it feels uncomfortable, then don't. Like, just not to be nasty, but use your heads. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
If you run into issues, you need to make an adjustment, right?
Yeah.
Like Yeah, that was for me. So like we got a Gym 80 hack as well as a Cybex Mark 1.
Yep.
And you can put the foot plate down on a more of a less inclined. So I've
Yeah.
got that all the way down now. My feet are, almost coming off the edge because I can get them that low.
Sick.
And yeah, it's for me it's perfect now. But talking about your force production when you've got, a lot more heel lift, if you were to set up a really high step up, I think that's a great example of feeling how weak you are in that position. Just because you've got so much hip flexion, your body, your tibia relative to your hip, it can't produce force as efficiently. We can't get into internal rotation to explode out of that position. So, if anyone's like, oh, I don't really understand it, well, you know, get
It makes
a
sense.
step up, get it really high, and try and push up. You're just going to have no power, as you just can't
Yeah.
leverage any of that muscular strength because of the position your tibs in. It's just you just can't do it.
Again, there
Um,
comes a point where it's like that extra knee flexion just isn't worth the drop off in your ability to generate that force and that power. It's like, yes, you might be getting a couple degrees more knee flexion, but your knee flexion's already great. Like when you're doing that, your knee flexion is brilliant when your feet are a teeny bit higher up. Stick with that, be a lot more powerful, get a lot more load through them. And I
yeah,
think that's more beneficial.
yeah. But I mean, I can do a dip super deep. I've just adapted to it, and positionally, probably not great for my chest. Can I do it? Absolutely. Is it something that I choose to do for my chest? No, I choose to come to the point where, I've stretched it as much as I can. I'm stacked through my wrist and my elbow, and then I come back up. Like this is not range isn't always indicative of better or more progress.
Again, it's individual, isn't it? And then working within your range of motion, what's available
Yeah,
to you, what feels best for you, and obviously there's some kind of like baselines that you want to work through, and because some kind of stuff that everyone should be doing. Breaking past ideally 90 degrees on a squatting pattern to actually get down. You don't want to be doing half reps and shit, but some people just can't get down quite as far. Their ankle mobility, limits that. Again, their shins, everything. You can improve upon these things bit by bit over time, but just how does it feel in the moment? What can we actually do, and what can we do to improve that? It's not going to be perfect. You're never going to. You see people doing ass to grass squats where like their arse is literally touching the ground. It's like not everyone can do that. You know.
Mm. And is it, are you wanting a more quad bias squat? Like, what is it you're looking for exactly? And like, how's that going to determine what you actually choose to do? Hey, I've got a
So,
question for you.
yeah, go for it.
We're running a camp in Bali. It's in July. Does that line up well for you? Like, if anyone from the UK wanted to come over, like season wise, or is that smack bang in the middle?
What date is it?
It's July the 14th. Like, I was just curious for next time that we do one,
Yeah.
does that sort of cut out most of UK athletes, coaches?
So I've got like a sheet with all the show dates and stuff for the UK.
Mm,
We have 4 shows in June, 2 shows in July, 4 shows in August, and then it ramps up for kind of September.
yeah,
There's 9 shows in September. So like there is shows in July, but they're usually not as often. PC Naturals 4 is the 26th of July. So yeah, like I'd say July is a solid-ish time for it. But for
mm,
me, like that's when I go away with family. That's when I like, because that's like the only part of the season just now that's kind of not as busy. So
yeah, you get that
yeah, it's
relief.
probably the best place for it to be because again, outside of that, unless you do obviously like February or December or something like that. But again, that's where
Yeah,
we're coming.
we're thinking one potentially later as well, like after Worlds, for example,
Yeah.
um, which wouldn't be a bad shot
What is
because
your I was just
yeah,
gonna say before if we're finishing up soonish, what is your plans like in terms of your goals for your next season? What body parts are you wanting to bring up? Because I'm interested in that as well.
mm. So it's funny. I can just sink load really well into my hamstrings, like, and I just know they're going to be absolutely gnarly next time around. Like they were already like good, but I
Yep.
saw Nick Walker get up on stage at the Arnold. I'm like, that's what they've got to be like, this
Yep.
bulging out, just ridiculous. And I always love a good side leg.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be in a good spot. I like more quad from the front. I've just got slightly higher inserting adductors, so it just makes that teardrop look
Yep.
a little bit thinner. But really, the feedback was, if anything, just need to bring up my arms a bit, and then everything else needs to come up sort of evenly, which isn't
Yeah.
bad feedback to have.
Spot on. It's
Yeah.
just time.
So there's that time, and I think for me, having more width through my lats from the front is definitely not going to hurt. I don't think it can hurt anyone really. But yeah,
Yeah.
arms, like I'm training arms before my lower sessions at the moment, partly because
Nice.
upper days are long.
Yep.
And you get to the end of it and you're like, is this going to be effective work? And I'm just looking forward to, again, like you said, very simply be better than the
The same
last
before.
time, but
Yeah.
noticeably, right?
Yeah. I'm
And I
just
think
looking at all the shots here. I've got them on my phone.
yeah,
Like
come on,
all
give me
your
some shit, mate. Let's go.
I'm looking at this is a sick shot. The most muscular. Very nice. That was you after you were sweeping up pretty much every show.
Yeah, that was the second show I did.
How many did you do?
I did 3.
3. And
Yeah,
you won all of
there
them.
was yeah. I could have done one more. The for it's called MBA. I don't know if they're affiliated with any organization in the UK,
Mm-hmm.
but they do a really good athlete orientated show, and I was sort of kicking myself that I didn't do it.
Maybe next time.
And yeah, absolutely. But the funny thing was, any of the bodybuilders that were in that season, like I went up against all of them. So, even though I didn't do that show, it's like, yeah, I sorted you out, and then you sort of sorted everyone else out. So,
Sick.
yeah, it's kind of I'm sure you might be similar. It's kind of weird to say that, but it is actually just the reality of what actually occurred. So,
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I struggle like when people ask and I'm trying not to be I'm trying not to sound like show offy or boasting and this and that, but it's like for where we were and what we done very well. Like we won all our shows, but we now know that going into the next like step up that there's a much bigger, or just the ponds, going into a lot more a much bigger area with bigger athletes and stuff like that. So that's the thing. Like with our seasons, we won pretty much everything, but I know that, and similar to yourself, when you go up in ranks and everything gets a lot harder, like there's going to be times where we both lose. There's going to be people better than us. Like I'd say we're both really good. Like we both get into really good condition, good shape, good muscularity, but there is freaks out there. Like genetic wise, we're good, but we're not ridiculous.
yeah.
Like yeah, there is levels to it, and you see some people, and you're just like, God damn, people are
Well, I mean,
crazy.
if I competed the year before in the same season, you had Nathan Wallace, who's, an Australian bodybuilding goat.
Yeah, yeah,
And, he cleaned up, came third in the middleweight to Babacar and Oscar
yep,
in 2024. So it's like, he was sort of talking me up a bit at the end because he judged that show that I did. It's like, oh yeah, I know, I'm, a little bit worried, mate, with you coming up. I'm like, stop talking shit. You would have, wiped the floor with, you wiped the floor with me, mate. But
in time though, in time.
yeah, in time, don't you worry. But yeah, so yeah, I want to do some Asian shows too because they look sick. Some of the Asian
Wicked.
WMBF shows,
That's great. Yeah,
and I've got, I think it might be outlandish for 2 years, but putting on 4 kilos in 2 years is, I like to, like, I'm not going to cry or lose any sleep if that doesn't happen. But
same as me. But it's like,
yeah,
how cool would that be?
yeah, you have it hanging
That
over your head.
motivates me as well.
Yeah, you get into each session, it's like, how am I going to get 2 kilos on this physique this year and then 2 kilos next year? It's like, what can I do? What can I control?
For sure.
So yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much it. And then when I get closer, I like to sort of list out process stuff.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm in a relationship during my prep, it'll be like, how can I best manage this? How am I not going to be a dick when I get, you know, at the end of the day when you just want to eat and go to bed and sack off and not chat to anyone,
Yeah.
but you know, dad's come home from work and he wants to chat and see how your day was. It's like, mate, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Leave me
it's not
alone.
happening.
Yeah, it's
It's not
managing all
happening.
that and again getting better at it. You learn as you do with all
Yeah,
this other
yeah.
stuff that we're speaking about. And like, it's never going to be easy, but you learn more and more about yourself and how you manage these things and handle these things. So yeah, I think next prep, like being able to actually be a bit more present in that, and again, instead of just shutting myself off and be like, yeah, I just need to work, I just need to work, I just need to work, like being a bit more like, it's just life, you know, and just eating a little bit less food. There's always going to be times where you need to be like, this is fucking everything. I'm going to war and this and that. You need to tell yourself like some mad shit, but for the most part, it's just like I'm just eating a little bit less. I'm getting a little bit leaner, and I'm just still going to enjoy this process.
Mm.
You know, having that
I mean, one
understanding.
thing I would like to do different is maybe appreciate my physique a bit earlier on during my prep.
Yes. Yeah,
So,
because
you know,
you're still quite like full and you look sick. You know, you're not just chasing more. You're chasing more condition. Like I've
yeah,
noticed that with myself and a lot of clients.
yeah. And people say, "Oh, I'm not satisfied with my physique," and it's like that's not really that's not a good mentality, and nor is it healthy. Now, me saying that I'm satisfied with where I'm at, it doesn't mean that I don't want more. Like that's not the case. It's, you know, far from it. But you know, I got to my first show. I put 2 years of an off season in, and it was like, cool, man. I'm fucking here. Like, you know, you put the work in. You've then done your contest prep. You're in great condition. Have some fun. Enjoy it.
Yeah,
Uh, the last thing that I was worried about, the most thing I was worried about on stage was my presentation. Right? It's all you can control. You can
yeah,
control what you can control, presentation, and I just wanted to have, you know, elite presentation. Obviously, the physique was where it was for that given day. Can't do anything about it anymore. Just go up there and present it as best you can, and I'm, you know, as happy as I
have
can
some
be.
fun again. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But I think it's not spoken about enough. But the process orientated goals through prep should, I think people should be setting these, man. You know, I
Yeah,
want to ensure that I, you know, am still a, you know, a good son, for example. And what does that define? That, okay, I'm not going to be a dick when I feel that shit. I'm going to communicate through it. Be like, you know, sorry, mum, I can't talk right now. I really want to go to bed. Can we talk about
yeah,
it in the morning? Like simple things like that, that really elevates you as an individual. And
yeah.
whilst it's not
Being intentional
bodybuilding,
with all that stuff as well is important. Actually having kind of clear, I need to do this better, and mostly reflecting on your last prep or reflecting on, you know, how things have been before. What am I actually going to improve? And it might be small things, and you might not technically make a difference to how you look or anything at the end of the day, but it is going to make you enjoy the process more. It's going to make it nicer for the people around you. You know, they're not feeling like they're paying the price of you being leaner, and it all just
because it's
becomes
your
something that you want
choice.
to do. Yeah, it becomes something that you want to do more often. You know, so many people get scunnered by bodybuilding and they do a prep and they never want to do it again because, again, it all comes down to if you fucking set yourself up right and you're having to
Yeah.
dig yourself way too hard. But people like, even Finn's like traumatized by his last prep. Like,
I've heard
because,
that. But what
yeah, like
happened? Was it just too long
he
or?
self-coached himself and he got pretty lean and he was, as you say, like, he was like, damn, not good enough. I need to be leaner. And he was like already looking really good, dug himself way too hard. He's got carbless rest days and his food's super low and felt like shit and you could even see it and he just looked like a zombie. He's like, nah, I'm fine. I'm going to push harder. And he just was in his own head a lot. And then like from a relationship standpoint, work standpoint, like he was working so much, he'd be up at 3 in the morning to get up for work, and like when he's tying his shoelaces, he's still listening to voice notes and watching training clips, and when he's doing everything, he's never off of his phone. So his response times are great and everything's great, but neglected his relationship, neglected his time for himself, and it just made that whole period like to look back on a bit shit. And I mean, he speaks about it openly now, but like his 6 year relationship ended directly after that, pretty much because of that, in a sense. And he became so robotic, and everything got taken away from him there. And it's like, looking back at that, he was like, I never ever want to feel like that again. But he's prepping again just now, and as we were speaking about, being a lot more in tune with his body, like, he's listening to that a lot more. He's giving himself his high days. He obviously owns a gym, but he's taken some days off the gym now so he can still spend time with himself and actually appreciate the process. And he's got Megan, his girlfriend, who's also a bodybuilder. She understands it, and like, everything's a lot better. So it goes to show, like, even if you have had a little bit of a fucking traumatic or shit experience with the prep and it's been difficult, there's things that you can improve upon. There's things you can do better to actually make it much more enjoyable. Like, he's thoroughly enjoying it right now. He looks really good. He's pretty damn lean, and he's going to have a much nicer prep in general. And I, like, again, a lot of that comes down to not starting too fat and stuff like that, but down to being a bit more intentful with, he's giving himself a bit more time to himself. He's spending more time with his girlfriend, and having those process related goals. He's very much like that. So it shows that that does make a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good to hear because, yeah, I'm sure you're the same. You want people to continue bodybuilding. You don't want people to have horrible experiences, and then it's just, oh, bodybuilding did this to me, and it's like, well, did it?
Yeah, yeah.
At the end
People
of the
just
day,
sets their outlooks and everything, then they blame it on bodybuilding. Like,
yeah,
it's not fucking bodybuilding's fault, is it?
no, no. Well, brother, mate, thank you so much for this chat.
Thank you for having me. It's been
I
great.
appreciate your time. I think
No, thank you.
I racked up, 4.75 views last video, or last podcast. So potentially nearing
Nice.
5, which would be fantastic.
Hell yeah.
Uh, so yeah, man. Hopefully, well, I need to do a Europe trip eventually. So on the cards, the
Get
UK
over to
will
Finn's
be.
gym. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'd also like to go to Glasgow and just the first day I get in, go and get a true Scottish breakfast.
Get some black
Glasgow,
puddings.
or what's your other big city? I can't remember this.
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. Yeah.
Edinburgh's nicer. Glasgow's full of
Yes, I've heard that.
junkies, and
Yep.
yeah, it's maybe not the most pleasant place to be, but depends.
When I was doing sort of planning, it was okay. Let's do a day trip to Glasgow and stay in Edinburgh, for example. Yeah.
Edinburgh's much nicer, and it's lovely, and when you're there, it feels very, I don't know, it's like quite old, and you've got all these like, old castle buildings and stuff like that. Whereas Glasgow, as much as it does have some stuff like that, it's just, I don't know, it's not as pretty, not as nice, and you'll meet some characters there for sure. You're not the best place to be on a Saturday night. Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind, man. All right. Thanks so much, brother. And
Thank you.
end the podcast. Thanks, Sam.
Like and
Thanks for coming on.
subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe.
Yeah.
All the good stuff. Thanks, man.
Thank you.